Hello, my Mahjong friends, and welcome to this evening's live clinic. Hope everyone is having a great day, and we're going to start with talking about the 13579 section tonight on the 2023 card. So grab your blue card and join us, and we're going to go through the category 13579. Each clinic, I'm taking apart the categories. And again, this week, we're just looking at one category, but we'll play on ilovemahj, and we'll discuss all the categories. So check out the clinics each week for the previous categories and what we're working on. We'll discuss my workshop. I have a new card workshop that I'm teaching this past April and into the month of May. Also, you can go on my channel and look at Let's Learn the Card. I have lots of videos on how to simply begin learning the card. And if you're interested, I have a worksheet packet on how to learn the card. So let's get into talking about the 13579 section. So each year, we always look for the carryover hands from the year before. So in the 13579 section, there are two carryover hands, and that's line number 1 and line number 3. One of the other things I often like to mention is about learning patterns. The common pattern this year, as we mentioned in many of my classes so far, is that 3-4-3-4 pattern, which is line number 2, and that is a predominant pattern throughout the card. That's one of the greatest lines to play because you don't need singles or pairs, and we all know how hard it is to get singles and pairs. We also have a concealed hand in this category, as in many categories, but this concealed hand, don't shy away from it. It's not too bad. It just has 2 singles in it, and it has 4 pungs, which are 3 of a kind, and I think it's quite simple to make if you collect the numbers 1 through 9 in different suits. Also, the first hand is the same as last year, as people maybe already noticed. It has 2 pairs at the end with pungs and then the kong in the middle. There are 2 dragon hands in this category of 13579, and that's line number 4 and line number 5. One is a matching dragon, which is line number 4, so the dragon that goes with every suit you use. And the second one is line number 5, and that is an opposite dragon. Now just keep in mind, when you have an opposite dragon, it's the unused suit. And so you have to remember what dragons go with which. So that's on the back of your card. If you flip your card over, under standards based by age, it's the 3rd line down, and in the middle it says what dragons match with what suit. So the white dragon, or the soap, matches with dots, the green dragon matches with bams, and the red dragon matches with cracks. So make sure you remember what dragon goes with what, and then you can remember what dragon you have to use. And so also, switchable hands. Let's talk about what hands can be switched. So line number 2 and line number 5, the one we were just speaking of with the dragons, is a great hand to work together with. Maybe you can get your pairs in line number 5. You can jump on to that number 2 with that pong, 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 pong pattern. That's a great hand to jump to. Also, line number 2 and 3, if you happen not to, maybe somebody puts up a grouping and you're like, oh shoot, I needed all those, now Sue has them and I'm not going to get them and I don't have many jokers. You possibly could switch your whole category to consecutive run. My favorite hand in consecutive run is line number 5. It's very versatile. So if we were in 13579 and maybe we had 1s and 3s, but we didn't have any 5s, maybe we could start collecting 2s and we can play 1, 2, 3. Or in the opposite direction, if we didn't have any 1s, maybe we could start collecting 4s and we can play 3, 4, 5. And that works with the upper numbers also. but try to focus on that hand in consecutive run. It's awesome to play line number 5, and I think you'll find it's a good backup hand to go to when your hand kind of bombs out. And also, let's talk about the double pung hand, which is like numbers, and that shows up a lot in 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. There's a double pung hand in line number 5. There's double pungs of 3s and double pungs of 7s. And there's also line number 6, which is double pungs of 5s and double pungs of 9. So double pungs are huge. And where can you switch? You can actually, with double pungs, you could switch to line number 7 in consecutive run. That also has double pungs of any number. It doesn't have to be 3s. It could be those 7s, 5s, or 9s. But again, in consecutive run, you would have to have the beginning part be consecutive. Believe it or not, this is the hand this year, one of the hands, that if you had 3 exposures up, 4 flowers, and double pungs of 5s or 9s, someone would not know what hand you were playing, because you could be playing line 6 in 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, or you could be playing line 7 in consecutive run. So that's an interesting thing. Usually with the 2 exposures, you can figure out somebody's hand, but this year we have that one hand, and there is another one that I discussed last week in consecutive run that people would not know if you had 3 exposures. And what other categories have 1, 3, 5, 7, 9? Well, my favorite, and I always tell everyone to play, is in singles and pairs. There is a 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 hand, line number 1. So I think that's all I wanted to go over for 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, just a quick synopsis of that category. A lot of information, so go back and look at this video when you get a chance and take apart your card and relook at what I just talked about. We're going to go on and play on ilovemahj. Now, normally you get 2 weeks for free. If you use my code CB, you get 3 weeks. So give that a try, and I'll show you where all the great things are on that site in just a minute. You also want to remember next week, which is the 9th, I believe, we're going to be talking about Winds and Dragons. So it's still the same setup. I'll talk a little bit about Winds and Dragons. We'll go online and play a little bit, and we'll get to learn the category. I'm learning it just like you this week. If you can, I would appreciate it by you supporting me. The best way you could support me is by giving me a thumbs up, by liking and sharing, by subscribing, and by commenting below the video. I would appreciate it. And thank you again to anyone who's been my super supporter. I appreciate the donation. If you didn't catch me today, I was on ilovemahj playing at 1 o'clock today. So come on and join me on Tuesdays and join my group, Mah Jongg Class, and join us in playing live. Let's hop on over to the clinic, and we're going to use our 2023 card, and we're still going to practice. We're going to do a little warm-up using ilovemahj. So we're going to go to play, game launch, and we're going to scooch down to the exercise room, and we're going to pick make a hand. And we're going to do sequential order. We're going to change our section to the 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 section, where we're going to talk a little bit more about that category. And I also like to do this because, again, I haven't played that much. And so it's a good way to get yourself up to speed on how the hand looks. So this is the hand that we had from last year. It has 2 pairs at the front and at the back, and then it has the pungs and the kong in the middle. Some people say it looks like a pyramid or the bell curve. However you'd like to look at it, patterns are a great way to help you remember how the hand is built. This is one color, so we get to pick any suit. So tonight we're going to pick BAMs. And it has to be made with these numbers. Now remember, the 1 bam is a bird. It always will be a bird. It's quite different tile, but that's a 1 bam. So we need 2 1 bams, a pair, a pung of 3 bams, 3 of a kind, a kong of 5 bams, which is 4 of a kind, and we need a pung with 3 sevens and a pair with 2 nines. Hi Laura, thanks for joining. I see Laura's on. Laura says she keeps forgetting that you can't use a joker with a pair. Yes, Laura, it's one of the hardest things to remember. If you think about when you put on a pair of shoes, and maybe this will give you a visual, you don't put on a substitute. You always put on 2 of the same shoes, and hopefully you'll remember not to substitute for a pair. So there's no joker in a pair. Laura, I hope that helps you. And so let's talk about where we can use jokers here. As Laura's learning, you can't use jokers with a pair, so no jokers in the 1s or the 9s. We can use up to 3 jokers for the pung of the 3s. We can use up to 4 jokers for the 5s and up to 3 jokers in the 7s. Let's validate and move on to the next hand. The next hand, if you look at it, it's on the first line. It's I'll call it the B side. It says that you have to do it in 3 colors. There's 3 suits. So 3 colors equals 3 suits. It does not matter what suit you use first. It just you have to have all 3 suits represented. So let's go ahead and make this, and we're going to pick, let's start with dots first this time. We need a pair of 1 dots. We need a pung of 3s. Since the 1s and 3s are in the same color, we must use the same suit. Now we need to change suits because the color changes. Let's use bams. We need a kong of 5 bams. And then finally, we need to change suits again. And we use dots and bams. Our final suit is cracks, and we need 3 7 cracks, a pung. And we need a pair of 9s, and the 9s and 7s are in the same color, so it must be the same suit. And you click validate. Moving on to line number 2. It shows up in 2 colors, and you have to use the lower numbers of 1, 3, 3, 5. So let's make this with cracks, and we need 3 1 cracks. You can back it up if you put too many. Then you need, since 1 and 3 are in the same color, they need to be the same suit, and in this instance we use cracks, so we're going to use the 3 cracks. We need 4, a kong, and then we need to change suits because the color changes, so let's do bams. We need only 3, and then we need a kong of 5 bams. This hand is that pung kong, 3 4 3 4. This is a great hand to use jokers in, and you don't need pairs or singles. This hand also gives you like numbers with a pung and a kong of like numbers. There are very few hands, I think there's only 4, that have a pung and a kong in like numbers. So go ahead and validate, and we'll move on to our next hand. This is the same line, line number 2, that's built with 5 7 7 9. Let's start it with 5 dots. We need a pung. We need a kong of 7s in the same suit because it's the same color. And this time in my sevens, I'm going to use some jokers just to help you out with a visual, how many jokers you can use. You can use up to 4. I'm going to only use 2. And when you do use jokers, when you expose them, when you call for them in the game, please make sure, again, this is not a Mahjong League rule, but I call it a good habit, and I have lots of those on my website, new videos on good habits. Try to hug your jokers, and that means putting the natural tile on either side of them. We all love our jokers, so give them a little love and hug them. Now we're completed the first 2 groupings. We're on to the third, and it changes color, so we must change suit. So let's use 7 bams. We need a pung. And then we need a Kong of 9s to complete it. And in our 9s, we can use jokers if we're lucky enough to have them. So in this grouping, again, it's pung, kong, or 3, 4, 3, 4. It's a good pattern to remember. It's all over the card. You should find them. And it's a good way to get your brain working on the new card. So let's click validate. The next hand, line number 3, starts off with 2 flowers. No joker with a pair, and that also goes for pair of flowers. And this wants to use the lower numbers 1, 3, 5, and we need kongs of them. We have to use 3 different suits. It's 3 colors. So let's start with the number 1, and we'll use dots. Then we have to change suits. So we already used dots, so we have bams and cracks left. Let's use bams. We need 4. Then we have to change suit. Our last suit available is cracks, and it needs to be the number 5. This hand, you can use jokers in the 5s, the 3s, and the 1s, not in the pair of flowers. Validate. Our next hand, again, is line B of line 3. And it's 2 flowers, no jokers in the flowers. And now we're going to use the upper numbers, 5, 7, 9. Let's start with the 5 cracks. And you can start with any suit. The color changes. And we're going to do 7s. Let's do 7 bams. We need 4. And if you didn't have any 9s and you were lucky enough to get 4 jokers, you could use 4 jokers to represent your 9 dots. So you could hit validate and move on. Line number 4 is 2 flowers, the number 1. So again, wherever we want, this is all one color, so it needs to be all one suit. It could be dots, bams, or cracks. And so tonight we're going to use cracks, and we need 4 1s, a pair of 3 cracks, a Kong of 5 cracks, 4 5s, because we're staying with the crack suit. And then you must use the matching dragon to the cracks. And again, if you don't recall it, turn your card over. It's right on the back, the 3rd line. The crack suit is primarily red in color. So that would be the red dragon. And we need 2 of them. And you're going to click validate. Now, before I do that, again, we can't use jokers for the dragons, the 3s, or the flowers. Those are pairs, no jokers with a pair. We can use jokers with the 1s and the 5s. If you have any questions tonight about the card, it doesn't have to be just this category. It can be any category. Please pop them in the chat and I'll be more than happy to answer them. We're going to continue with line 4, part B. This is 2 flowers. This category is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. You must, again, use only the numbers that are there. And so it must be 4 5s. Let's use 5 bams. We can't use jokers with the 7, but it's all one color, so we have to stay with the 7 BAMs. Then we need a Kong of 9s, so we need 4 of them. And now we need the matching dragon. BAMs is green in color, and so it is the green dragon. We need 2. And we're going to click validate. Next, we're on line 5. This is the dragon in the middle, so this is the opposite dragon. On your card, typically, if you've been playing for, a couple years, when you look for dragons, you usually look to the right-hand side because that's where dragons are. So you might miss this hand when you're looking for a dragon hand. What you could do is take a Sharpie highlighter, or you can take your pen and put a box around the dragons, something to draw your eye to this line when you're looking for dragons. It kind of gets a little lost in the middle. But again, this line, how many colors? It's 3 colors, so that means we need to have 3 suits. And we're building it with the lower numbers of 1, 3, 5. And so we're going to start off with a pair of 1s. Let's go back to that BAM suit, and we'll do 2 1s. Then we need 3 3s. And it has to be the same suit because 1 and 3 is in the same color. You do not associate the color with the suit. Now we need to do the dragon, any dragon, and I happen to like, I think we use the red and green, so let's use the white, and the white represents the dots. You could use jokers here, so let's use jokers. Maybe we didn't have enough. Let's use 2 jokers and another white dragon. Since we use BAMs and dots, our last suit left are cracks, and we need a pung of 3 cracks. And then finally a pair of 5s in cracks because they match. The 3 and 5 are in the same color. You could not use jokers in the 5s or the 1s because they are pairs. Everything else you can use jokers in. Now, if you look at the first hand in 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and you look at this hand, line number 5, it is the exact same pattern of a pair on either side with the pungs and the kong in the middle. And again, this is called a bell curve, or it's called the pyramid because you have 5, 3, 2, or the bell curve goes 2, 3, 5, and it's kind of like an upside down U. So draw that out for yourself on a piece of paper if you have it handy. And I think when you start visualizing all these patterns, you start learning the hands. And by no means should you have to memorize the hands on the card, but it helps you not to make a mistake when you're calling for something. You could easily say, oh, this is the bell curve. I need a kong of dragons, not a pung. So you can help move the game along when you're playing and not make a mistake. So we're going to validate this and continue on. We're on line number 6. We need, we're not on line number 6. I forgot there's a B side, and it's the upper numbers. It's 5, 7, opposite dragon with 7, 9. Now again, let's start this hand with dots. We need 2 5s, 3 7s. Let's use the red dragon. So we need 4. And then we need to change suits because the color changes. We use dots, and the red represents cracks. So the last suit is BAMs, and we need a pung of 7s. Boy, it's a lot to remember. Your brain has to remember the number, the suit, what we didn't use, where we're going. So it's a lot for your brain, and you should be practicing this when you have some downtime and not during the game. The game should be where you're leveling, you're showing all your skills you have. So take out your set, put it on your dining room table, and build these hands and keep practicing. If you don't want to take out your set, jump onto ilovemahj, use my code CB, and you can build the hand. And again, as I mentioned, you can change your section right here at the top of your screen, and you don't have to practice this section. You can practice one that you feel you're a little weak on and quickly go on and start practicing. Let's validate. Now we're on to line 6. We need 4 flowers. Now in flowers, when you have 2, you cannot use a joker. But when you have more than 2, you're more than welcome to use jokers for flowers. This has a pair of 1 and 3. They must be in the same suit. So let's use Bam. You know what? Yeah, let's use cracks. I don't want to use the same color. I don't want you to get confused that you can't change the suit. And then we need our repeating pungs of like numbers, but they must be 5s in 2 different suits. So we already used cracks. Let's use dots and bams to complete this. You cannot use jokers with your 1s and 3s because they are pairs. In your 5s, they are pungs, so you may use up to 3 jokers. Hi, Colleen. Oh, Colleen says she loves this exercise online. I do too. I love Mahjong and doing this. It helps so good to get it in your brain. Thanks for joining me. So line 6B, we're going to do 4 flowers. Remember, you can use jokers. 5, 7 this time. And we're going to pick, we'll do BAMs, 5, 7. And then let's do 9s in cracks. And then 9s in dots. And again, you can use jokers. And we're going to click validate. Prior to this line, the 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 section, line number 1 is collecting the numbers 1 through 9 in odd. Everything else underneath that was either the low odds or the high odds. So a lot of the times you get caught up in collecting the whole grouping 1 through 9 in odds. Typically, if you don't have multiple suits and you don't have the 1 and 3 together or the 7 and 9, you're going to try to collect just the low odds 1, 3, 5 or the high odds 5, 7, 9. So you're only working on half of the side of the card or the other half. So try to pay attention to that a little bit. It'll free up some of the tiles during the Charleston, and maybe you can focus on the high or the low, and then you'll get better at playing this section. So this hand, however, does create a range between 1 and 9 in odds. The 1 and 9 are in the same color, so they must be the same suit. The 3, 5, 7, that's 3 pairs, must all be in the same suit also. So let's build this with 4 1s, and we're going to use some jokers. Then you have to have 3, 5, 7 in a different suit. And so let's use BAMs, pair, pair, pair. And since the 1s we use dots, the 9s are in the same color, so we must use the 9s in dots. And we can use jokers in the 9s. The 3 pairs in the middle, no jokers. The 1s and 9s up to 4 jokers. And click validate. We're on our final hand, and one of my favorite, even though it's concealed, is the one line number 8, and it's collecting the range from 1 to 9. And you can make it with any 2 suits. So let's make it with dots. We need 3 1 dots, a single 3, and because the 1, 3, 5 is all in one color, we must continue with the dot suit. Then it changes color, so let's make it with bams, and we need 3 5s, a single 7 in bams, and then 3 9s. I was a little joker happy. I got 2, 4, 5, 6 jokers in the game. Woohoo for me. That doesn't often happen, but I wanted to show you how you can move the jokers around. And in this, you really only need to have a 3 and a 7. And if you play the way I also play, I probably would have a single 3 and a single 7 because during the Charleston, I'm collecting every 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 in all different suits. So I would play the suit where I had a single 3 and a single 7 and hope to build around it with what else I had. This is a great hand. Don't shy away from it. I think you'll find that you'll enjoy playing this and wow yourself and wow your friends if you win it. This pattern of 4 pungs and 2 singles is the same pattern in 3, 6, 9, the concealed hand. So if you look over at 3, 6, 9, now you know the 2 patterns and hopefully you'll start learning the hands. So let's get out of this. And again, you can change the section here and you can play, learn to build a different category. So keep going through these exercises, and they have more exercises which we'll do in the coming weeks to help us learn the card, but you can pop on ahead if you wish and practice the Charleston. What hand is that? This is actually my favorite exercise. It teaches you where you can switch hands, and then you have the Mahjong. So we're going to slide on up to the game room, and we're going to hit play with bots, and then we're going to launch game. So always sort by suit, and then you look for your pairs. And tonight we have 5s and 6s. So 5s and 6s go together in consecutive run. In consecutive run, you collect around 5, 6, and you want to collect 4 numbers in a row. And this year we need to collect 5. So we're going to collect around that. So maybe we're going to collect 3, 4, 5, 6, or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we really don't need the 1s, the 9, and the 8. Now, 1s, I would not pass 2 1s. Let's pull back a 1, and let's get rid of this 8. And let's see what happens. So sort by suit again. And so we still have the pair of 5s. We have a 9 we're not going to use, and a 1. We have to come up with one more tile. So we're missing kind of a 4. I would love to get a 4 in here somewhere. We don't have a 4. Let's get rid of this 2 because we're probably going to play 5s on the high end. We really don't have 2 and 5 are too far apart. We don't have all the dot suit where we got mixed suits. I always hold on to my dragons. Unfortunately this year, or fortunately, however you want to look at it, in the consecutive run category, it's both hands is concealed and the third hand, they are matching dragons. So I don't think we're going to play either one of these, but for now we're going to hold on to it and we're going to pass this. Oh, here's my 4 that I was looking for. Another 4, they're giving me all kinds of 4s now, and a 3. So I really like to see if we could play like 3, 4, 5, 6, or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is line number 4. So let's get rid of, oh, we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but this is the wrong 6. So let's start chipping away at these here. So let's get rid of a 2, a green, and I hate to do this, but I am going to get rid of the 3. I know it's 2, 3 together, but let's try that out. We picked a 5, let's continue because we don't have a set hand yet. We can get rid of the north, the 9, and the 4. We picked a 1, a green, and a 1. Now I'm going to let the green and the 1, and then I have to give up one more tile. It's probably going to be this 5. Although we could play, yeah, we don't have, I was thinking 2, 3, but we need 3, 4, 5, 5, but we don't have the right 4. Let's get rid of this 5. We picked up a 1, 2, and 3. We don't need that. I'm sorry, we picked up a green 3 and 2, so let's get rid of that. Oh, good, we picked up another 2. That's nice. So let's pass these last 3 tiles. We don't need them. I was kind of looking at hand number 4, where it's 1, 2, 3, or 2, 3. Actually, we need 2, 3, 4. I don't know if I had that 4 before. 5, 6. So we're looking for the 4 here. But at any rate, let's get rid of the last 3 tiles. Hi, Cindy. I'm going to keep going along until I hear somebody else has an issue. So these are my optional across. And we picked up a 4. So maybe we're playing like 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 3 tiles that are not needed. So until I get rid of these 3 tiles, I'm not picking a hand yet. So we're looking to get rid of these tiles before we decide what hand we're playing. And boy, do those bots put up super fast. Oh yeah, we got our 4. Very nice. So that hand is looking nicer and nicer. Talking about hand number 4. We can play 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have that backup hand, that pung kong hand, line number 2, which would be 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the ones I'm keeping in mind, but I'm not actually picking a hand yet. I'm waiting to get more tiles. I still have 2 tiles to get rid of. Now 5 dot we would need, but we can't call it anyway. We don't have any jokers. Haha, look at what we got, a joker. We were able to do a swap, so I'm going to put that in here because I know I have to call for my 5s. Now, if we're playing the 4th line down, it would actually look like this. It would be 2, 3, 4. So instead of 1, 2, 3, so your brain really has to work because it wants to do 1, 2, 3. And we do not need the 3 bam. We already have 2 of them. So we're going to ignore this. Hi, Stella. Glad you can join us this evening. You just found this. You mean my clinic? I've been on for quite some time. So you should go back and look at the past ones. And we've been on tonight since 6:30. It's every Tuesday at 6:30. So hope you can join us. This is 7 dot. We don't need it. Whoa, these bots are crazy. 2 jokers. I would never do that. It's so early in the game. We don't need this 4. Okay, let's see. 7 crack. We're not using that. Oh, we got 2 flowers now. Let's look at our flowers hands and see if we might want to change. So line number 3 is flower hand, and that's 2 numbers with matching dragons. We don't have that. Line number 5, we could play 4, 5, 6 with 2 flowers. That's a possibility. We could see how that comes in. And we have line number 7 would be 2 flowers and then like pungs, which we do not have. So at any rate, right now where we stand, we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, aiming for line number 4. Or we can change to line number 5, the second half. At any rate, we don't need this 2 bam, so let's get rid of it. When the bots have, or your opponents have exposures up, you should really try to figure out their hand. So let's take a minute to look. Agatha, you're not going to figure out. She only has 1 exposure. So there's lots of Kongs all over the card. I'm not going to worry about her. Wes is playing 2 and 4 with pungs. I would immediately think 2, 4, 6, 8. So if you jump over to the 2, 4, 6, 8 category and quickly scan it, there's no hand with 2 and 4 in pungs. So then the next thing would believe that it's a consecutive run. And if you remember the pattern we talked about earlier this evening, that pung kong pattern, 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind, 3 of a kind, I can guarantee he's playing that 2 dot, 3 dot, 4 crack, 5 crack. So let's see how it plays out with Wes. I'm going to stick with this hand. I want to challenge myself and see if I can make that hand line number 4. And I'm going to get rid of these flowers, and maybe we can do a joker swap. Charlene, it wouldn't be the addition hand because Charlene mentioned that it could be the addition hand. Wes has this exposed, and when you have an exposure, you can't change it. And so the addition hands are Kongs, which are 4, and Wes only has pungs up, which are 3. So he's not playing an addition hand, so it has to be a pung, something with pungs. Okay, so let's get rid of the flower and maybe somebody will call it. Let's see. Nope, nobody called it. Okay, now that Agatha has up 7, 8, kind of pulls us in a little more to where maybe she's playing. So she can be playing line number 5. She could be playing 6, 7, 8, or 7, 8, 9. Maybe she's playing the same line we are, line number 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's lots of places she could be playing. We'll have to see where she's playing. So we don't need a north. I bet you Joe's playing something with winds. I guess maybe nobody could be playing. Okay, here's our 6 crack. Now, no other 6 crack has gone out yet. I'm not quite ready to call for it. I could use my joker here, I suppose, but I want to wait and not let my opponents be able to change. So I could use this here and call for the next 6 crack. If I know I'm not using those flowers, I'm going to get rid of them early on because I don't want to jeopardize towards the end of the game someone calling for Mahjong. Oh boy, we got another 4 dot. I don't have to make a decision. I can get rid of this 3. So I could play 2, 3, 4, 5. I did get rid of a 2 already. I am probably going to switch to the 2, 3, 4, 5. And the reason why I'm doing that is I really want to use the most of my multiples. And I have 3 4s, which fulfills the 4s in, we're switching now to the second hand. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm hopeful let's see, only 1, 2 went out. I'm not going to call for this. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to see what happens. Let's ignore it. He's playing 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we got our other 3. That's perfect. We could play 2, 3. The 3's out. Oh, we need a lot of jokers. Oh, shoot. Shall we go back to the other one? I'm thinking the 3's already out, so we need a joker there because we need a Kong if we're going to play 2, 3, 4, 5. We need to put the Kong here for 5 because the 5 is out. We need a joker. We also need a joker for this too, so we're running out of jokers now. Maybe we'll just stay there. Let's get rid of this 4. Maybe we can get these jokers over here. I don't think anybody needs the red. Oh, does anybody need the 6? Agatha could. I knew it. I called it. I said Agatha could. I got rid of it then because I was afraid that maybe she needed more, but that's what she needed. But I could have gotten rid of the other 6s, but at some point I would have gotten rid of it anyway because I wasn't 100% sure what she needed. Because she could have been playing the same hand, line number 4, where she needed 3 of them, and I thought maybe she wasn't quite ready yet to call Mahjong, but she did. So I did lose that game. When you're wishy-washy like that, I think probably the better thing to have done was got rid of these 6s and kept that 6 and prevented her from getting Mahjong. But it was a chance I took, and I lost. So I lost some points here. So let's see. Wes was playing the hand I thought 2, 3, 4, 5. And then Joe didn't have anything exposed. He has 5, 7, 8, 9. I guess he was just looking for a consecutive run. So he was missing his 6s, which Agatha had. So let's start a new game and sort by suit. This time we have 6, 7, 8, 9 all in one suit. So we could play an all one suit hand. The card this year is not very heavy in all one suit. I think it's like 20% of the card is all one suit. So you're quite limited if you do play all one suit. But again, if you get it, you're going to play it. So let's get rid of these low numbers. So we can get rid of the, I don't want to get rid of a north right away because maybe we could play that run hand, line number 2, like north and south with a little bit of a run. Let's get rid of the 4, the 2, and the 6. Oh, now we got a pair of 1s. Pair of 1s aren't going to help us in our little run here. So we could get rid of, oh, but we do have 1, 3, 7, 9 going on. We're missing a 5. Let's get rid of the 7, the 8, and the red. The 1, the 2, and the 7. I don't like passing 1, 2, so let's pull that back and maybe the north. Picked up another 1. Now we have 1, 2, 3. Oh, now we're going all over the place. I'm sure this looks like your hand every game. So now our strengths are 1s. We're going to continue because we do not have a hand. And I'm going to get rid of the 4, the 1. I'm going to stick with the 1, 2, 3. And the 6. We got a 2, so we're getting 1, 2, 3 more of those in. This is a cross. This is not optional. We have to do 3 tiles. So let's break up these 7s. Of course, we got the 6 back and the 7. We have to pick which way we're going to go. So let's stay with the 1, 2, 3. We got 8s. We can do 3 tiles in the courtesy. Let's do 6, 8, and 7. So we're 1, 2, 3, not crazy about it. Either way, I think we would have been in the same spot if we did 6, 7, 8, 9, or if we did 1, 2, 3. I think it would have been 2 pairs. So let's continue and see if we can make this 1, 2, 3 work for us. We cut our north back, which we had at the beginning. Oh boy, it's got all the 8s over there. Oh, they're putting everything up. 1s, 8s, and 7s. So Joe's playing 1, 3. Again, that's that pung pung. So I think it's pung kong, pung kong. So he's playing 1, 2, 3, 4. We can play north and south maybe with that little run. Oh, there's a north. So let's look at line number 2. You need 3 norths. North is already out, so maybe we could call for the next one. 3 souths. And then we need a run of 1, 2, 3. We need a lot for the 3s. And again, it doesn't have to be 1, 2, 3. We only need a pair of 1s, a pair of 2s, but we need 4 3s. Here's the third north. Let's call for that. I'm calling for it because I want it to be pure, and 1's already out. We're in pretty good shape. We could call for the 3s and we can call for our souths, and then we're good. Maybe we'll get another joker swap. I got rid of that flower super fast because I don't want to hold on to it in case somebody needs it, but I don't think anybody's playing a hand where they need it. We sure do have a lot of jokers. Oh my. So next tile, either a 3 dot or a south, we will have Mahjong. There it is, Mahjong for us. So that was quite crazy how we went from a consecutive run hand playing a run of bands, and then we went to a run of low numbers, and then we went to winds and dragons. So when you're playing categories, make sure you know where all the consecutive run hands are. There are consecutive run hands all over the card, especially in Winds and Dragons. There's 2 of them. There's line number 2, and then there's line number 7. So don't forget about that. I mean, this was crazy. We had 4 jokers. That was very nice. Thanks, Laura. Laura said, good job. Let's look at Wes. He has 5, 7, 7, 9. Easy enough. That's line number 2 in 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. That's that pung kong pattern. Joe has 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 in the low numbers, the pung kong pattern. And Agatha has 2, 4, 6, 8, line number 3. Again, that pung kong pung kong pattern. That was really a great way to see everybody with that pattern. We can, we have a couple more minutes. Let's start another game tonight. I'll go a little over. Let's start our next game, although I should end on a win, right? If you have any questions, pop it in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them. So we have a pair of threes. We have 2, 3, and that could possibly be the year hand. So we could do that, or we could have a backup of maybe 1, 2, 3, or 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's get rid of 7, 6, and 8. We picked up a 1. Oh, are we going back to that 1, 2, 3 hand? We can get rid of an 8. I'm going to get rid of the north. And let's get rid of this 1. A 7. Ooh, well, the dragons are coming in. Let's see if there's a dragon hand. Again, in consecutive run, the only dragons are matching. These two are opposite of what we're collecting. There are a bunch of dragon hands. There is one in 2023. There's a dragon hand, the third one. There's a wind hand with dragons. I don't think we're going to make that, but let's see. I'm going to get rid of this 1 and this 5 because we still have 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, here's another 2. 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to hit continue because we don't know what hand we're playing. I'm going to get rid of the 8. And now I'm going to be stuck. But I want to continue because I don't want a garbagey hand going into the Charleston. I want a better hand. So if you look at let's do 2023 because we have 2s and 3s and dragons and a wind. Let's get rid of this 4 and 5. This is the second left. We're passing 3 tiles. Of course, a 5 comes. That's always what happens. I don't think winds are going to come, but this is our last right. If you paid attention, I rarely do a blind pass or stop the Charleston. I could keep this 2. We could play the 4th hand. We can play 2 with white dragons and news, but we really don't have that. I'm going to give up this north. So we got our 4 and 5 back. That's quite interesting. So we're in no better shape than we were at the second part of the Charleston. Oh, we got a 3. That's nice. Let's get rid of this 1. Get rid of the 6. Oh, nobody's playing those dragons. I was hoping somebody would call for it. Oh, Joe's playing winds. I'm thinking we're going to get rid of these dragons, but we'll see. Nobody's playing the flower. You can keep moving your tiles so that you know, prioritize them. Oh, here's a 4. So hold on to that flower. Maybe we can play pair flower 2, 3, 4 in Kongs. Let's get rid of these dragons. Green already went out. Let's try a red. Doesn't look like anybody's playing that. Now Joe has norths up, so you think he's playing a winds hand. He can also be playing in quints. He can be playing like numbers, line number 1. Oh, 5, that's helpful. So we still have that in the running, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now in that 2, 3, 4, 5, I do need a Kong of 3, so I'm going to call it. If I decide to switch to flower, flower 2, 3, 4. I still need a Kong of threes. So let's call that. And let's get rid of the green. Now we want to set our hand up. So if I'm ready to play 2, 3, 4, 5, I am able to call for each grouping. I can call for my 2s for my pung, I can call for my 4s for my pung, and I can call for my 5s for my Kong. So now we're set in the hand, and keep going along and seeing how it comes together. Oh, we didn't even get there. Agatha won. Of course she did. We have 5, 7, 7, 9. She's showing us that 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 category we just practiced. And this again is that pung kong, pung kong. You see how many times tonight they're all playing it. Wes was playing 2 flowers, 5, 6 with dragons. So that is line number 3. It's actually 2 flowers, a Kong of 5s, a Kong of 6s with a Kong of white. Oh, and he was playing north, west, south. He had a long way to go. I don't know, he said he was playing line number 1, but he didn't have any east. So he had a long, long way to go. This is very nice to show you how to set up your hand with jokers so that you're very confident in the game. You're playing that pung, kong, pung, kong hand. And so I set it up so that I can call for my 2s, call for my 4s, and call for my 5s. Make sure you do that in your game so that you're ready and comfortable playing that hand. So I hope you enjoyed tonight, and I look forward to teaching you next week about winds and dragons. I'll have a little presentation on that as we go through each of the categories. We still yet have to do 3, 6, 9 singles and pairs and quints. I did not go over quints or singles and pairs. I left those to the end. And again, next week on May 9th, we are going to go over winds and dragons. Thanks, Colleen. Colleen said she learned a lot from thinking out loud during the Charleston and during the game. Thank you. Thanks, Charlene. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week. In the meantime, check me out on Facebook, and you can go over there and see, you can type in questions, see what everybody's chatting about. You can also go to Instagram, or you can check out my webpage. I would love to chat with you at any time. And thanks, Laura, for tuning in. And thanks, Stella. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Talk to you soon.